Hi, and welcome back to part 3 of this video series on how to jazz up your eBay listing and get more hits. This is being brought to you by datatechnologyllc.com. So let's get started. Just a recap of lesson 1, which was item layout, we talked about creating some excitement in your eBay listing. And the way you can do this is by avoiding plain text and then trying some formatting effects. You could add different font styles, color schemes, and possibly use headings and titles. You could also insert images or pictures to spice up the auction description. Then we showed you by using Microsoft Word 2007, or you could possibly use an HTML editor too to improve one of our existing listing. Now you can also add a table, possibly including prior customer feedback, and like I had mentioned in lesson 1 that we tend to use this as we have essentially the same listing that we use, and it's important to have some feedback in there. And then finally we recommended using hyperlinks from within your listing to your website to drive traffic and potential customers. As far as lesson 2, this was to revise the title, and essentially it's important because the title has really all the keywords that the bidders or possible customers use to search for items on eBay. So how do you find the best and optimal title for your eBay listing? Well, we talked about three different ways. One is to research online using search engines like Google, and you can essentially estimate the number of results or hits that a specific title is getting. You could also explore similar items within eBay, and we did take a look at this. And then finally, the last thing we talked about was using free tools from eBay Research Labs, especially Bay Estimator. As we looked at, you start out with your original title, and it uses a keyword factor, essentially the ones that are popular with query searches, to help you optimize your title. So those are the two things we have covered so far. So what's on the menu today? Well, so far we have really focused on the users or the bidders on eBay. Now we are going to switch gears and really focus on the search engines instead. And so the whole idea is to essentially get your eBay listing some coverage outside of eBay. And you must be wondering, well, how do I do that? Well, we will use some SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization techniques, to achieve this. And specifically, what we are going to talk about is HTML tags that cater to robots and crawlers. Now, robots and crawlers are essentially automatic programs that scan the whole internet and essentially re-index and index pages and give them a ranking. So it is important that we can use some of these HTML tags within our listing. And then another technique that we'll talk about is essentially using links to other high quality websites or articles, and then we will also look at some other SEO techniques. So the first thing is really using HTML tags, and this may be a little overwhelming for you guys if you are not used to website design. I'm going to keep things really simple. Also, there is a lot of help online for this, so just bear with us and don't get scared. So essentially, the first HTML tag that I want to talk about is the title tag. This important tag is the one that goes first in the head section of your web page. The title tag describes all the information on a specific page. As such, it is imperative to use a well-defined descriptive title tag. The web browsers also use this tag on their title bar, and the search engines use this as the hyperlink heading in the search results. So for example, I will be using one of our websites, which is learningcomputer.com, as sort of like our testing ground to understand some of these HTML tags, and after we have discussed all these tags, we will go ahead and implement these in our eBay listing. So when you go to a website, and you can try with really any website, the way you can see the HTML code is you go to View and then select Source. And I'm going to go ahead and maximize this. There is a lot of information here, but I'm really going to stick with the top. So if you notice here, this is what I was talking about. This is the what's called the head HTML tag, and it is really comes in before your main part of your web page. And now right below that, actually 2 lines below that, you'll see a title where it talks about, for this website I'm using free video training and tutorials. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and go back to PowerPoint. It says enter tag here and search on Google. So let me go ahead and paste this first. What I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and just copy this part. Let me just do this part right here, and then let me just go back to Google, and I'm going to see if I used this key string online, where does my website stand. And this is just to kind of show you the importance of using these tags. So look at this, we have about 16 million hits, and if I go down the list, I don't see mine yet. Let me go down to the next set of hits. I still do not see me, but there you go. So out of 16 million hits, I am getting number 21, which is learningcomputer.com. So this is not bad at all, um, and I just wanted to quickly show you that. So definitely we will be using the title tag for our eBay listing. Moving on, the number 2 HTML tag that we will look at is called meta name description. This one is also used in the head section of a web page. It typically goes right after the title tag, which is the one we just looked at. And as far as this tag, it contains a short description about your web page. Search engines like Google will also use part of the description from this tag to display on their results page. So once again, if I go back to my page, you'll notice that there was the title, and right below I'm using is the meta name description. I'm going to go ahead and copy these 2 lines, do a Control C, go back to PowerPoint, and let me just paste this first. Let's really kind of go through this quickly. So the first part is, it just says meta name, which is what we looked at up here. Then it says description, and in the content you essentially have the description. So for this site, it says video training on Windows XP, Windows Vista, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, SQL Server 2000, SQL Server 2008, online tutorials, videos, and presentations. So basically, this is a training site. We do have some free tutorials and whatnot. So I would say this is fairly descriptive of the website. Now, as far as going back to Google, notice that let me see, let me just go back here. So when we went back to the results, notice that this was the title we were using, and right below the title, this part is essentially the description. Okay, looks like it did truncate